market analysis is subjective. And I started thinking about it and I was like, you know what? This is where we make money in real estate, is in market analysis.
Hi, David. How are you, brother?
Good, Vinny. How are you? Thank you for having
Oh,
me today.
awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming the other day on the Mastermind Inner Circle. And you added so much value to all my students, and so on. And, just to formally introduce you, David, you're a multifamily investor, a broker, and a consultant, and specialize in market analysis, demand and supply analysis, market cycles, feasibility analysis, and teach all that also as a CCIM instructor, and after tax savings and strategies. So your passion is so much very synchronized to what I've been doing for 14 years, buying in the emerging markets, and so far I've done all right.
That's good.
So share with us, how did you get started, and how would you like people to approach this after COVID world now, 2021? We are taping it in March, middle of March or so.
Yeah, thank you, Vinny. So when I was going through my CCIM core courses to become designated, one of those courses was CI 102, which is market analysis. And in market analysis, they teach you what's called the strategic analysis model, where there's 4 legs to a stool, and the center of that stool is really your decision criteria that you create in order to make a go, no-go decision on a property. And the 4 legs of the stool are market analysis, which I think is one of the most important of the entire stool. Location and site analysis, which is the area around the property and then the site itself. The legal and political analysis, which, we hear about the term NIMBY, not in my backyard. So some of those legal aspects, zoning, things like that. And then all of that will give us our inputs for our financial analysis. And, we like to start back of the napkin and say, okay, is this something I want to take a look at? But until we do the rest of the market analysis, the location and site, and the legal and political, do we have the inputs for the financial analysis in order to do a good 5-year, 10-year pro forma? I prefer 5 myself, but, some people think they can see 10 years into the future. I have a hard time seeing 5 years, let alone 10. So it all starts with that strategic analysis model. And one thing I recognized when I was going through CI 102 was, oh, wow, this is the one course. The rest of it's all financial modeling. It's all numbers. It's all plus minus this, that, times this, divided by that gives you this, a couple of algebraic formulas for IRR, net present value, things like that. But it's all numbers. It's all objective. Yep. Well, market analysis is subjective. And I started thinking about it and I was like, you know what? This is where we make money in real estate, is in market analysis. The financial analysis is just a product of the market analysis. The market tells us what we can make in this investment. Unless we know what that market is saying, we really don't have any idea other than past performance. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I'm not investing on past performance. I'm investing on future.
Yep.
And so we have to be able to calculate how we see in the future. And it is a mathematical formula. And luckily, it's just a bunch of pluses, minuses, division and subtraction. It's easy stuff. There's no big algebra to it. And we talked about that pretty extensively in your mastermind group. Yes. But that's how I got started. I recognized that 102 was the key. So I started really focusing and learning and trying to understand more and more the economic base analysis and determining future population and being able to identify those emerging markets. And after I got designated and they were looking for instructors and I applied to be an instructor, they asked, well, what course you want to teach? Well, of course, 102, which was market analysis, was a fit for me. So that's how I got going.
Awesome. Wow. So on the macro level, what would you say if an investor is looking at a property, let's say, 50 units, right? In Mobile, Alabama, let's
Mhm.
say. So how would they go from macro to micro to local, specific? How would you
Okay.
teach?
It all starts with jobs,
Okay.
and not just any job. And so the way I explain this, and I explain this pretty good in the free webinar that I do pretty consistently, is you want to look for what are called export sector jobs,
Mhm.
whether the jobs are leaving or whether the jobs are coming.
Mhm.
But you have to be able to identify what is export sector. So what I like to do is I like to show a bucket of water, and that bucket of water has a hole in it somewhere about 2/3 of the way down. So water's leaking out of it.
Mhm.
Let's call that bucket your local market. And the water inside your local market is money, which is circulating inside that market.
Mhm.
The hole that's in the bucket, that's the leakage for the money that goes outside your market. So when you work in the market, you get paid. And then I go in the market and I pay for things, my mortgage, my utilities, groceries, clothes, vehicles, things like that. Although I may buy my vehicle outside my market, depending on how small of a market you're in. But where you're really spending money outside your market is when you go to the Smoky Mountains on vacation, if it's in the fall. Everybody loves the fall colors on the East Coast and the Smoky Mountains, or down to the beach during the summer. Whether you're in California, whether you're on the East Coast, whether you're on the Gulf Coast, or heck, for that matter, whether you live in Ohio. When I was vice president of a helicopter company in Myrtle Beach,
Mhm.
uh, the number one tourist that we would get would be from Ohio. They would drive from Ohio to Myrtle Beach
Mhm.
to enjoy the beach weather.
Yeah.
So they're not spending money in Columbus, Ohio. They're driving to Myrtle Beach and they're spending money in Myrtle Beach. That's leakage. Well, how do we keep that bucket full so that we either have, a level market? So if the money's just circulating inside the market, but you got enough coming in the top that it equals that leakage and we have an equal market, or what we call a stagnant market. The way we keep it full and overflowing is from export sector jobs, otherwise known as basic jobs. So basic jobs, you really just follow the money. And I like to use the example, well, if you wanted to use Mobile. So in 2015, Airbus, or was it 13? I don't remember. 2013 or 2015, Airbus announced we're going to build a manufacturing plant in Mobile, Alabama, and we're going to build the A321 airplanes there.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, woohoo, and we're going to bring 1,000 jobs to
Yeah.
that factory. Well, how do those employees get paid? Are they selling Airbus A321 jumbo jet airliners to people in Mobile? No, not. So they're selling them to France, they're selling them to Germany, they're selling them to Japan, they're
Mhm.
selling them to UAE, they're selling them to Canada, they're selling them to Mexico. So globally, that money is going to France, which is where Airbus is located. France is then taking that money, shuffling it, do what they do, and then send the money back to Mobile, Alabama on payday so that they can pay their employees.
Mhm.
Those employees then take that money, they go into the marketplace and they spend that money. And then they go to the Smoky Mountains in the fall
Yeah.
to see the fall leaf colors. And they go to Myrtle Beach during the summer to go to the beach, or Gulf Shores if you're in Alabama. So that there's enough money coming in the top of the bucket from these export sector jobs that no matter what your leakage is out the bottom, you still have an overflowing market. That is really the definition of an emerging market, where there's more money coming in than can be spent inside the market. That's an emerging market. That's a growing market. It takes jobs, export sector jobs, to identify that. That really is the entire start of it. I hear a lot nationally and from other people, they know it starts with jobs,
Mhm.
but not a one can tell me, well, what do you mean? What kind of job? Well, jobs,
Mhm.
job growth. Okay. What kind of job growth? Oh, so take it further. All right. So we have basic, which is the export sector, and then we have support sector jobs, which is non-basic. That would be if your right-hand man, John Rusin, decided he wanted to open a bakery shop. So he went and bought a building and in Mobile, and he opened a bakery shop, and he makes all of his bagels and everything else. He creates cupcakes all locally. When the workers get off work or before they go to work at Airbus, so before they go to work at Airbus, they stop at John's, they buy a bagel, they go to Airbus and have their breakfast and work. And on the way home, they stop and get a loaf of bread or get, cupcakes for the kids or whatever they're going to do. And then they go home. Well, John then takes that money that he's earning from the local market. The money's not coming from outside the market. It's coming from the local market. Right. He's paying his employees, and his employees are going into the marketplace and they're, paying their mortgage, buying their rent, your utilities, food, clothing, stuff like that. But they're still going to Myrtle Beach, and they're still going to Gulf Shores, and they're still going to the Smoky Mountains. So you still have that leakage, but there's nothing coming in the top to replenish the local market job force, which is why we don't count when somebody opens a bakery shop locally. We don't count that as an export sector job, because the money is paid for within the market and recirculated back in the market, and we still have that leakage we have to account for. So that's the difference in the two types of jobs. And when I explain that, light bulbs go off to people.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, David. It's such a pleasure to have you. Hey guys, if you like the content that we covered today, and if please give comments and share this episode with your family, friends, your people in your team, so that they could also learn about the techniques. Again, please give 5-star reviews. And we have put, I've got 3 shows a week now. And one of the senior investing, assisted senior living build up and passively investing in that show, Vinny and Bo show on Fridays, 9:30 live. We go on 7 channels now, all over in YouTube, LinkedIn, and then Clubhouse on Thursday at 3 p.m. We do it 1-hour show for Clubhouse also now, 3 p.m. And then, of course, Apartments Made Easy, this show, and then Mr. Vinny, Mr. Smiles Motivation Show. We got shows all over. So please like, comment, share. We'll see you in the next episode. David, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, Vinny. This was fun. Thank you very much for inviting me.